Atia versus Ibutra here in Oak. I guess I'll give you my thoughts and then chime in if you have any thoughts on these players real quick.
Mhm.
I know Atia, though, was kind of hyped coming into Oak this season, but maybe their season's been a little bit disappointing based on where a lot of people had predicted her to finish up. And coming into this, she just has 2 wins so far. On the other hand, Ibutra was a late sign up, but had some prior competitive experience from Summer Cup, I believe, and that was showing as they're coming into this match at 3-1-1. Any thoughts on either of these players? Any experience with them?
No, to be honest, I unfortunately I don't really know much about them, and I don't recognize them, in terms of like I haven't played with them or anything like that. So I'm pretty blind headed into this, other than just looking at the stats.
All right, well, you go and learn. And also worth noting that Oak is kind of a mess as far as scheduling goes, just because with players joining throughout the season, players have differing games played, and the weeks on the schedule don't really match up with where things are. So Oak will be just a journey the rest of the way for the season, for anyone who is interested in following the standings there. But let's jump into the draft here. Um, we have Ibutra banning Redwoods, Atia banning Ballroom, Ibutra restricts Tan, Atia restricts Aquarium, and then for our picks, Ibutra doubles Modern, Atia doubles High Rise, Ibutra singles Terrace, and Atia singles Courtyard. So we're getting a different mix of venues for sure from the last match.
Yeah, this is it'll be a change of pace. It's good to see that it's a pretty healthy mix. You've got the 4 of 8 and the 4 of 7, but then you've also got the 3 of 5 and 3 of 6, and those venues just tend to play a bit differently from one another. So I think we'll get a good, healthy mix of different gameplay styles and different options, which will probably make it a pretty close set.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, the last set was obviously came down to the wire here, and it would be nice to see if this one does as well. But we're jumping into familiar territory here with our first venue being Modern. Um, we have what looks like Atia on Spy first as Orange Sari in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
How do you feel about picking such a slow character on a larger venue?
So I don't know what Atia's, if Atia is just a randomer or if this is a conscious pick. Um, I don't mind the slower characters myself, but you have to be conscious, of course, of the slow speed. Meaning you have to be more conscious, I guess is the best word, of your mission progress and making sure you keep steady mission progress going. I guess efficient would be the way I would describe the mindset going into this.
Yeah. So do you think maybe spend less time at each conversation circle, or do you go for a timeout at some point mid game?
I think it obviously depends on what the party gives you, but
Yeah.
you certainly can spend. You can't afford to spend as much time idling here, which Atia is kind of doing.
Right.
We have the drink in hand, and we could certainly fire off a Purloin, which we do, but I'm honestly not sure if it's even going to take based on the amount of time that we've spent thus far. I think we're called to that briefcase, right? We're required to pick that one up.
Yeah, we probably should have taken that, but it's kind of hidden with just its position in the party. I don't think that the sniper even knows that it's there. And we're going to go for the Purloin, splitting into back right statues to start our inspect. But as you said, it'll be pretty surprising if that Purloin goes through. And Atia picking up a fingerprint on this back statue and also picks up a highlight for it. We path by the ambassador for a bug opportunity, but it is being watched, so Atia may lose some suspicion for taking a very obvious bug path and not bugging.
Maybe. That's also crediting your sniper with being really aware of the bug animations and catching those well. So it's very easy to just certainly credit a bug there instead, if you're not like really careful about what you're watching.
Mhm. Picking
The
up our next
ambassador,
flirt, get
yeah, the ambassador's
64%.
the ambassador's leaving a fingerprint on that statue back there as well. So that's certainly a double dip mission completion we could pick up if we let that cook for a bit.
Yeah, I mean that's another big path to victory right there. All we need to do is finish flirt, get contact, and just let that fingerprint on that statue cook. I mean, it's a pretty low chance that it'll get taken, and even if it does get taken once, we can gamble, and it's taken by Ponytail right now. We can just gamble on getting the fingerprint off of it as a difficult one, and we could even do that now after our seduce.
Okay, hear me out though. Hear me out. Fingerprint inspect swap finish.
It's possible, but without flirt being done, I probably wouldn't do it yet. right? Because you want that to intermission win. You don't want to like swap and then have to go and flirt. So had we finished flirt right there, that could have been a very realistic option, especially since it could be a frame onto
Banana bread.
ponytail. We're gonna pick up our contact, handful of people outside of conversation, and we're gonna split back into green books.
Yeah, it doesn't look like we're getting rewarded for that split. And as you pointed out, the 98% on the flirt is really unfortunate. We finished the fingerprint at books here instead, though.
Mhm.
So really, we're still in pretty good place. We just need one more flirt and then just another inspect in general. Um, However, if the fingerprints are being tracked, then just going to statues one more time, especially at this point with a minute left, under a minute, could mean that we die from that instead.
Yeah, this is a very good and interesting first round because it's really testing Atia is really testing the sniper and saying, okay, do you know how to track soft toe wins? Do you know how to track fingerprints even when I'm doing a banana bread split to distract you from the fact that I'm getting it? So it'll be good information for Atia heading into the set here to kind of give them information as to how they can plan their next spy games and what they can or can't diffuse later.
Yep, that's definitely true. And there's something to be said as well for early on in the set, just playing more for information than anything else. We reject this drink, and looks like we're just going to go try and finish inspects here to win that way. But down to 20 seconds, someone going to finish inspects with this little time left is super suspicious. And I would be shocked at all to see us just get shot here for this.
Yeah, I think we're either going to see a shot or we're going to see Ibutra watch for swap and then not shoot in time. Swap really not even being watched for.
Safety off, but the shot
Wow.
doesn't come off, and somehow Atia just gets away with the time ticking down.
Yeah, I was holding my breath there because I think that the sniper wanted to shoot and was probably starting to click the mouse for the shot, but it was just barely too late.
Yeah, no too late for sync either, so that's just well, I would say a clean win for Atia, but not that clean, as clearly we were the top suspect by far at the end there.
Yeah, cutting it very close. And as far as information goes, if you're Atia here, I don't know. I guess you'd be unsure. I'd feel like, yeah, soft tail finish is a good option against this sniper. However, they kind of caught me at the end. So is it really?
Yeah, well, we'll have to see how this sort of the matchup plays out over the rest of this match. But now it's Ibutra's turn to spy here as Rocker in three, two, one, playing it. Honestly, though, that was a pretty well paced spy game, though. I mean, I know a lot of people would expect Oak players to maybe not necessarily be as on top of things, especially on Modern, where pacing can be tough. But really, like, very nice game from Atia as far as pacing things out and getting missions done.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, they even thought to cover or at least pair that fingerprint on the green book with the banana split. So that's really great because you obviously need to get away with one of those fingerprints without it being noticed if you don't want to get credited with the full mission.
Yep, we're going into Blue Bookshelf here. So New Modern is interesting. On 5 of 8, like microfilm was almost a necessity for getting any kind of spy win, but I feel like it's really not done all that often this season with the 4 of 8 variant.
Yeah, I mean the same could probably be said about most 4-8 venues, right?
Yeah, I mean that's probably true. I mean, microfilm was just such a difficult mission to get away with in general.
Yeah.
Banana bread.
Oh no, we cough. We cough right on camera. But I don't think it was seen. Just regular lowlights coming off. We're not highlight. We we may be fine for this. Maybe.
Was your cough as you were saying that intentional or unintentional?
No, I'm not that clever. I just had some water go down the wrong way, unfortunately.
Caster's empathy.
Yeah, it was just a sympathetic cough. Um, but anyway, we're fine. We have the blue book in hand. We have contact done. Um, and we have 26% on our flirt, and that's it. We have plenty of time, especially with that early time ad, so I think we're okay here. We bounce around a little bit, and we're going to green bookshelf. We're just going to slam this in, and now is kind of the moment of truth.
Yeah, I like this. I am a fan of mixing in some microfilm transfers. I think that direct transfer is almost always the way to go. Animation transfer is just so bad if you hit a white that in competitive play it's
Um,
just too risky. We're going to go for a white swap in the back right, and we're not going to pick up our inspect.
so action test was ignored there as well. I'm wondering if that was just an action priority.
Yeah, very curious, and we're going to split through the conversation by walking through the center of it, and that's going to get a shot. I think we were probably dead. I guess we could have probably flirted with 2 minutes and 40 seconds. So if Abutra was a little bit more conscious of how they left that conversation, I think that the sniper was just waiting for something to give them confirmation to shoot, and then we gave it right to them.
Yeah, worth noting that AI will almost never walk through the center of a conversation circle like that. So seeing that, Atia just had enough and decided that that was her time to take the shot.
Yeah.
All right. So going back to Spy Side for Atia now, up 2-0. She is going to be playing as Salmon in 3, 2, 1, playing it. Looks like with our selection target here, we're just going to beeline in and pick up this early flirt, which is really never a bad choice against most players. It is worth being conscious, though, because some snipers will take note of that and really just focus you the rest of the game. Like Kumakid, for example, pilot me a bunch of times during our match just for early flirting, which was infuriating.
Yeah, it's very hard to play against, but I mean, that's one of those things where in between the rounds, hopefully the competitors are looking at the replay just to see what they're both doing early game. And it's pretty rare for people to abuse flirt pairing. It's just so hard to do.
Yeah,
So,
and it doesn't really look like it's in play here, but I thought it was worth mentioning though that just doing an obvious close flirt like that at the beginning of a match can backfire on you occasionally.
oh, definitely. I mean, when I start out my round on sniper, that's one of the things that I know is I look for a couple, easy flirt pairings like that, as well as some of the other information like statues and who's at bar, etc. So it's definitely something to be afraid of. But it's just the overall, I think, general safe strat that most people do. So we have 34% of our flirt. We took a drink from bar, delegate in pocket. We're gonna go for a
Banana
white
bread.
contact. I have a feeling this is going to lead into a delegate, and it does, just due to the kind of the spread of the contact was not super great.
Yeah, I mean that wasn't the neatest delegate banana bread, as we did kind of double talk there, and then the stop talk wasn't super on top, and then we did sip right after as well.
Hmm.
The purloin goes off. We pick up a highlight as we go into statues, but I'm not sure if that's a statue highlight or a purloin highlight. And no lowlights are coming off, so I'm not sure how on top of the purloin we really are here.
I think it's just now seen after Wheels took the drink.
All right, so let's see what the reaction is. This is going to be really telling. No lowlights coming off yet, as it looks like Ibutra is trying to think back and just remember the bar chain, but still no obvious reactions, which is either really good for Atia or really bad, right? When a sniper doesn't react to something this obvious, it means either they're completely
Right.
lost or they have a suspect in mind.
Yeah, I'm not having an easy time figuring out what Ibutra is onto. I'm quite unsure. One thing to note though is when you see a bad banana bread, not that that was necessarily a bad banana bread, but it also wasn't great. And we're gonna take the shot as we go in to pick up the statue, which we'd already been to, by the way, so we couldn't have finished inspects there, but they'd had enough of it.
Yeah, so Ibutra clearly onto the delegate and everything else after all,
Hmm.
um, which is actually a really nice shot, especially based on the sort of confusion around that delegate and everything else. Really nice job by them tracking everything and keeping a clear mind through that.
Yeah, I was gonna say when you see a banana bread that's not super great, you should be thinking, what is this covering for? And at that point, that's when you can be looking for the swap or the purloin.
All right, so Ibutra bringing it back a little bit, picking up one win, and here looking for a second one on Spy as Disney in 3, 2, 1, playing it. We're getting dumped into the bookshelves here by the AI, which is fine. We'll take the book out. I doubt we're going to do anything silly, especially with the laser sort of hovering over us at this point. But let's see. Early bar rush here with 5 people, including our seduction target. We're going to join them and pick up the flirt.
I think we could have maybe taken that book with us. Got two statue visitors and a bar rush.
Maybe, but of course, if the priority is picking up this flirt, then you can't take the book to the bar. So,
I mean, you can.
okay, that's fine. I don't want to limit you. The ambassador comes and joins us here, and we're just gonna lean over and take that bug. I think it was seen. Look at the laser snap over to us immediately.
Yeah, safety off toggle on Ibutra. And hopefully Ibutra is taking note and feeling that laser burning onto them after they take that standing bug there. And they now have to think about how they can win. And I think you go for a frame at this point.
I mean, I think you have to, right? I mean, I don't know how on top of the laser movement of Ibutra is, but I mean, from our omnipotent point of view, like there's no way the mission finish here and get away with it. All right, so we're cooling things down, just hanging out in this conversation circle. I think you have to let the delegate expire, right? And just wait it out and look as innocent as possible.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple options. We're going to go ahead and send the delegate off to Dr. M, who is that plane twin. You can either do a lot of active idling and try to lower your suspicion and then burst towards the end, or you can go for a frame. It looks like Abutra is looking to lower their suspicion and then mission win. Purloin goes off, no reaction from the sniper as of yet, and now we get the reaction, and Atia takes a shot onto Abutra. So not enough active idling to lose the suspicion of the sniper there.
Yeah, and that bug was clearly seen early on at the beginning. And I think Atia was 99%, and just needed one more thing. And obviously, a delegate per line is a lot more than one minor thing to confirm.
Yeah, I mean, we probably could have just worked on like contact and flirt for a while instead, and then try to rush something through at the end. But it happens. You've got to try stuff as spy. I mean, you can't win if you don't. It'll just be a tie if snipers win the whole time. So
Yep, certainly true. I mean, I think the play there maybe is just play it slow and then force it 50-50 at the end with someone who's really bend the statues and finish inspects or fingerprints or something like that. But either way, Atia up 3-1. And that was a Butcher's map pick too. So Atia steals the map away, going to their own pick of high rise.
yeah, big opportunity for Atia to take a lead after you kind of take lead on your opponent's venue. So heading into high rise, we're gonna have transfer, swap, and fingerprint off.
Yep. We'll talk about that. Let's start the game though. Atia as twin in 3, 2, 1, playing it. So what are your thoughts on missions for high rise?
Oh, I've got some new stuff I want to try on high rise, but I personally like to have transfer, swap, and I think I do fingerprint off because the snipers that I play, I know that they're just going to track it anyways. So I like having that option to get like a good green purloin and sneak that through because you can't really mask fingerprints. But I think fingerprint's a good option. I mean, I think the standard is transfer and swap off, and then you can either toggle between like fingerprint, purloin, maybe even inspect. We're going to path by the ambassador and probably get credited with bug there, honestly. In the meantime, we've picked up 23% of a flirt and an inspect.
Yeah, and that's the second time we've seen Atia do that, take an obvious bug path but not bug. Also, I want to point out that we 3-cycled that statues there at the beginning.
Oh, wow.
I don't think it was noticed, and we're clearly not punished for it, but yeah, for those of you watching who aren't aware, you can't do that.
Questionable banana bread, quite a few people out, and really not that great of a spread. And we're now waiting to take a drink from Toby. Do we notice it, or are we going to ignore Toby? We're going to begin our flirt.
Yeah,
I don't think we noticed that Toby's offering to us. Waiter
nope,
gave up.
Toby gives up. It's another thing that you guys can't do. Instead, we're just gonna hang out here across the conversation circle from the spy. And this alone is pretty unspy-like, actually, just hanging out alone with one other person in the conversation circle across from them. So if Ibutra is watching that behaviorally, that's not the worst place to be for Atia.
Again, we take another possible bug path and don't bug, which I like doing, but when it's an angle to where the sniper like would barely even be able to see the bug anyways, they're just going to credit you with it because they can't tell if you're bugging or not. We're going to take a green book out, probably to just reset our flirt cooldown and re-enter the front conversation. Unfortunately, Kane takes a briefcase and is working on returning it, so we're kind of just hanging out hoping he joins back, and he does.
Yeah, I think we got kind of distracted by the things happening, but I mean, I think high rise is unique, especially in the 3 of 5s or 3 of 6s, in that every mission is a potentially viable choice here. Like swap is viable because it can force the sniper to go rotate over to the far side to check those statues, which allows things to happen over here. Transfer less viable, of course, but still can be in play sometimes. And obviously, swap or purloin and fingerprint are also not bad choices at all, as you've already talked about.
Yeah, I don't hate high rise, but I statistically perform very poorly on it. So I don't know if I'm a great source of information on like high rise strategy.
Yeah, fair enough. We take a sort of goofy little path into the statue to finish inspects. We're gonna do it, and I think we're the first one to finish inspects here. We might just get shot for it, to be honest.
Safety off toggle. Let's see if Ibutra can remember the flirt pairing from earlier, decides to not risk it, and shoots for the statue inspect finish.
I thought there was a non-zero chance that we get a missed shot there, just based on the movement around. Like,
Right.
Boots
Yeah.
almost took the bullet there a couple times as we walked away and moved around. But the right shot comes off. We're good. It's fine. Ibutra picks up the win. And that is the risk, right? If you are planning to get missions done, just doing the road flirt, inspect, uh, banana bread, it can be pretty obvious. And it's really easy to get shot doing that. But it also ends up with a lot of frame possibilities here, which high rise is also good for that.
Yes. Well, let's start it, and I'll have some words on that.
Fair enough. Ibutra here is Seek in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
I don't know if I would call it a frame if AIs are just passively finishing. Obviously, if you see one that finishes inspect, you can frame them for getting contact and like waiting till they're talking to go for it. But that's sometimes one of the frustrations that like I and maybe some others will vent is like sometimes AIs just finish, and because at no hand of the spy, the sniper takes a sif shot just because they happen to be finishing. And it's on the sniper to track flirt and track kind of the behavior, but did we go for that? We didn't go for that bug. That may have been a bug option. Oh, that I forgot. Bug is off. Bug transfer and swap are off.
Okay, so bug is off, and we picked up a highlight. I think that's for just waiting too long at the painting pad there. I think that's why we picked up the highlight. The other options is maybe a flirt pairing with Disney here, who was at the painting pad with us along with the ambassador. But either way, that early highlight is not promising at all.
Yeah, and an interesting mission layout here. We're opting to bring in. Yeah, I'm just not sure. I mean, it's going to be a big Softail game, so it'll be interesting to see if Abutra can get a mission win through here. And it is a lot of information for the sniper to track. But
Yeah,
they have more flexibility to relax and track that info because they don't have to watch for hardtails that much. Safety off toggle onto Disney right now.
yeah, flashing on Disney quite a bit. Disney did just pick up that briefcase with a fingerprint, and I'm not sure if there was another one that they got already. But here comes the banana bread. We're in the conversation with Disney. And as a prime suspect, Disney is just going to get shot for this, I think. The safety's off as Atia is thinking about it. But is Disney done here already? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The shot comes off, and Disney takes the bullet.
And I think I'm going to check back on the timing. I think Disney started talking right after the banana bread, so it would have had to have been a green into an innocent talk. Yeah, banana bread, and he's not talking. So, I mean, if you're looking extremely closely, he's probably not the spy for that, because who would land a green BB and then start talking right after, you know?
Well, obviously you would. Yeah, I don't think Disney could have been done with flirt there, though, is the problem I have with that. Unless, because standing across the conversation circle, the only person next to him was the double agent.
Right.
So that may have been a premature shot.
Yeah.
But either way, I think that evens it up, right? 3-3?
Yeah, I believe it's 3-3.
Okay, very nice. So Ibutra fighting back here on Atia's map choice. Atia as spy here, as boots, bun, shoulder, whatever. And 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And this time we've got swap transfer and fingerprint off. We could
Yeah,
go into
Atia.
green books for a flirt.
Yep. Instead, we're just gonna go statues. Atia really favoring the early statues here, and it didn't really pay off last time. But here we're just gonna get statues done all in one go. So we can get like just basically turn this in the balcony, do 3 greens from here on out. This could be an early win, but it's gonna be rough.
Yeah, getting shot for contact is going to be the moment of truth. And if Atia is very mindful of that, they could try and get a silent game, and I think a silent game could be a win, especially if we can sneak through a good bug. We'll kind of see how it plays out. We get a green BB, and it's really going to be down to about 4 people because that front conversation would have been fake. And it's a rushdown game. We're going to go ahead and purloin.
Wow. Yeah, Atia just rushing this down, and no shots coming off because who could possibly shoot this quickly without seeing the fade? Uh, Ibutra is stuck just trying to narrow down the party, and Atia just gets away with the really, really quick rush here.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that Purloin was not um, that Purloin didn't induce a shot. Kind of watching it back now from the sniper side, it was a little bit hard to see the tray, and I think by the time that the sniper noticed that it was gone, there was about 4.5 seconds left on mission win countdown, and they're just trying to parse who it can't have been because they're not expecting the game to enter mission win countdown, especially because Boots was off screen. So that with Boots being off screen, it's probably if Boots was on screen, the sniper likely would have been reminded, oh yeah, they have mid inspect, they could be finishing. But luckily, Atia or intelligently, Atia kind of leaves the area and gets off screen and gets the mission win.
Yeah, that really just shows the power of rushing. Like, even if your hardtail is maybe not the most hidden, like just the unexpected aspect of entering mission win countdown less than a minute into the game is really, really powerful, and something
Mhm.
that more spies, myself included, should do more often. All right. Well, after that very quick game here, Ibutra looking to even things up once again as Duke in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And we have another Softel game lined up here. We've got Bug, Swap, and Purloin off.
Yeah, which means transfer microfilm is on. I think it's probably that must be the rarest mission choice for high rise in general, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I think in general, if you're gonna have transfer on, you're probably not going to be looking to actually do it, and the only reason that you have it on is to force the sniper to be looking at those areas to watch for hardtails. And if that's your intent, I think that Purloin is better. I think the other three missions are just better at doing that. Have Bug on so the sniper's eyes are constantly watching the ambassador, but the sniper's probably just not going to be really watching microfilm that much anyways. Maybe that makes it a viable option, but probably not.
Well, let's see if we go to books here on the way out. We don't. We don't take advantage of the mission being on, and we're just gonna go flirt instead here. And that's fine. Both of these players though have really been prioritizing early inspects, like we kind of saw last set. And I'm not sure if it's been backfiring directly or indirectly, but like been it's going to be something to watch as the rest of the set continues.
See if they pick up on it. Yeah, and we entered this conversation to get our next flirt up to 61%, and we talked almost immediately.
Yeah, that's something that new players often always do. And it's certainly something that's very visible, especially if you do that every time you enter a conversation circle. On the flip side, more experienced players will nearly always wait, between 4 to 8 seconds upon entry to talk. So at some point it flips, and an instant talk is less suspicious, but it's also a habit that you have to be mindful of when you're playing spy.
Yeah, I think even at a high level, if you're doing the instant talk, you're just going to be watched. You're not going to be like, you're not going to get shot for it, but you'll just be watched more closely, which in and of itself is bad if you have to get hardtails through still.
Yeah, we're gonna go finish specs right here, right now. With bug off, the ambassador standing next to us at green books, not a big deal. Um, but she has left a fingerprint on green books if we decide to go back now that we finished inspects here.
To cycle the statue, even though we don't need it, so I like that. The statue pickup itself was a little bit fast, and that leave was way too fast. We set it down and started walking away immediately. Something that Atia could maybe pick up on.
Yeah, and notice that we insta-talk again as we enter this conversation circle next to our target here. So if Atia is on top of things, all these various little etiquette things, this could be an easy shot coming out very soon.
Yeah, at this point, Atia likely just waiting for the contact.
And we're just gonna walk in and
Yeah, this is gonna
wait
be. I
here.
can tell they're just like preparing the laser above Duke's head to just drop the hammer down and, and shoot him.
Yeah, we don't fire off this banana bread instantly though, unlike the seduces. So Ibutra waiting a little bit longer here. Here comes the contact though, the talk, the lasers focus on their head waiting for it to come off, and we just get
Yeah.
shot. So yeah, the combination of finishing the inspects and just the obvious little etiquette things clearly drew Atia's attention, and Atia takes advantage to hold her lead at 5-3.
Yeah, and just overall very active, right? Just mission site to mission site, not much active idling, just very, very aggressive.
Yep, which can work. It certainly can work, as Atia just proved with her rush. But if you're doing it a little bit slower and you're doing more the traditional path to victory, as in the soft tells,
Mhm.
um, can be a little bit harder to get done unless you can really nail those greens and get things done
Yeah,
quickly.
Softail Rush is definitely a lot harder to get away with against a decently good sniper versus like a Hardtail Rush like Atia had done, where they're kind of you can kind of make everything happen a bit faster. So, but we'll head into another kind of 3 mission venue, though I think this one plays a bit differently than High Rise.
Yeah, let's talk about it once we start here. We have Atia again on Boots, Buns, Shoulders in 3, 2, 1, playing it. All right, so elaborate. What do you mean by playing a little bit differently?
It just feels a lot different. There's obviously a lot more missions on, but there's no books. But we have Toby behind the bar, so the whole delegate procedure works differently. There's no fades to be read into, and I think AIs just tend to finish inspect less than on high rise because there's no mid statue option, so they have to visit twice. And I think just the general setup of the conversations in conjunction with the sniper viewing angle allows for some really interesting and fun bugs with like really good wrong arm bugs going from one conversation to another, and some good reverse drive-bys in a few spots in the back and even in the front on the left side
We
and right
delegate
side.
right away here and just get wow, we just get shot immediately. No hesitation whatsoever.
Yeah, Atia trying to replicate that rush, I think, from high rise and wants to just force missions through, but this time Ibutra is not letting it happen.
I'm surprised that we didn't even just like pick up a highlight on Twin for taking there. No hesitation whatsoever on that shot for the delegation. But maybe the scare of the prior rush has Ibutra thinking that the shot has to happen sooner.
Mhm.
So either way, correct shot comes off, and Ibutra going into their spy side here is Salmon in 3, 2, 1, playing it. Uh, to continue with our conversation though on what makes this different, what are your thoughts on the dynamics of having only one double agent as opposed to two?
Oh, is there only one DA?
Yeah, there's only the DA and the SDA. You know what I mean?
Oh, is there an SDA on this venue? No,
No,
there's
there's
not. It's just one.
there's not.
Did there used to be an SDA on it?
No, it's always been like this as far as
Oh,
I
but on
know.
high rise, on high rise. I don't know. I guess I'm just
Yeah,
so used to it. I haven't really thought much about it. I don't. I kind of like having just a DA that way. It's kind of like known to both players because it allows for like interesting it allows for a lot of interesting meta and mix-ups in terms of like multiple BBs will happen during Terrace, and there's different ways to interpret the information. So I don't hate it. I think it's fine. I like it.
yeah, I do too. It's a unique dynamic as it's the only venue where there's only one DA or SDA, and that one DA is known on like balcony, and that definitely leads to, as you say, a lot of interesting mind games as far as frames and reals versus fakes. So it's a nice unique feature of this venue that makes Terrace, I think, one of the three of X's that I don't mind playing nearly as much as, say, Pub.
Yep.
Meanwhile, worth pointing out that we have a lot of partial mission progress here. We have inspects done, we have one flirt done, we have one print done, and we have a highlight for all our troubles.
Yeah, it's a good spread on mission progress. I think the white contact that we're letting off right now is unnecessary because it's putting progress on 4 missions. Unless we plan on leaving inspects half complete, which is a whole strategy in and of itself, to show the sniper that you have partial mission progress on something and intentionally not complete it. That way, at the end of the game, they're waiting for you to complete that thing that you don't actually need.
Yeah, not a great banana bread though. We let off 3 lowlights, which on Terrace with how few guests it has is kind of a big deal.
Yeah, and Amba paths right next to us with the sniper in a bad angle to guard it. We could have definitely gotten bug as the ambassador entered there, and it's something that we could maybe take now if we're close enough. It looks like we should be.
Yeah, I
Hard
think
to tell.
we have pretty good cover here from Rocker, blocking our arm, depending on the sniper angle, especially when they angle over like this. Like now that that's kind of gone, but I think we had an opportunity there to take that bug. But on Terrace, it can be scary to do that for sure.
Yeah, we need to pick up the pace here. We've been idling. Oh, I think what we're doing is waiting for this briefcase to become available.
How do you feel about just sort of twitching over and forcing the ambassador out? Like not right now with no cover, but earlier when we had maybe Rocker in general guarding us.
I mean, it depends on your opponent, but I'm usually not a fan of like doing any type of twitch movement because my eyes are personally like very drawn to it most of the time. So I think it's something that a sniper can usually spot.
Now, is this a legal briefcase with the ambassador right there?
I don't think so. I think it's a little bit too close, but Yeah, you got to make a. He's got Abutra has got to force it through right now because there's 20 seconds left and they need that mission. I'm not sure why they didn't just risk the green flirt. We're gonna go for the safer play of the inspect, but we've now got contact, inspect, and a recent briefcase that was illegal. This could very well be a shot, though Atia's not toggling safety off. Entering second cycle.
And we walk away so quickly. The shot overtime, the shot doesn't come off.
Oh,
Ibutra just, I can't fathom why the shot didn't come off there.
yeah, Atia I think had the read, but was maybe just second guessing themselves. And it's interesting that they decided to start to line up the shot like and not do it sooner. Unless they were counting the 10 seconds. I don't know. I think that they were just having trouble deciding, obviously, and should have maybe just trusted their gut a little bit more and taken that shot when they went to statues in the first place.
Maybe they thought there's gonna be more overtime than there was.
Right.
All right, well, either way, Ibutra squeaks one out that maybe they shouldn't have won. And worth noting as well that they've evened it up here. It's 5-5. And once again, we're in a situation where we're going into the last map for all the marbles.
Wow. Yeah, this set's gone by pretty fast. Both of these players really not wasting any time and are kind of on team do stuff. So
Yeah. Well, we're going back to Courtyard where we've already been. And we have Atia here on Small Man in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
yep.
We haven't
Go ahead.
we haven't really talked much about cast selection here. Any thoughts on like Small Man and other various shenanigans like that?
Hmm. It's hard because either the person selects their casts or they don't, and we don't really have a way to tell. So it's mostly speculation. However, I do think that there is value in selecting some parts of the cast at various parts of the game. I think selecting your spy is a bit dangerous, but selecting your ST and selecting your ambassador can be pretty important, as well as selecting your double agent, you know, depending on the venue, because certain characters are better at certain venues and whatnot. You know, bigger ones, the slower characters aren't as good. Um, so I think there's some value in that. And obviously, sometimes mixing in a smallman game can be very strong.
Of course. I mean, everyone enjoys playing Small Man, although really Courtyard is really not a venue where Small Man has an inherent advantage, unlike say
Right.
Gallery or Tayan. Um, but it's good to have in your repertoire. I mean, I know some players will just avoid playing Small Man because of all the inherent suspicion that comes with that choice. Um, we pick up this briefcase, by the way. I think this is, yeah, this is perfectly good. We have solid mission progress as well with our inspects done already and picking up the highlight for it.
Yeah, pretty active, and we're going to go for a full sip while we return the briefcase there. Not sure that I like that. We're also going to twitch as we try to deliver it. And I do think that Smallman is actually at a disadvantage on this map because when Toby bends down to offer him a drink, it's just enhancing that sniper viewing angle that much more. So he really just gains like no benefit.
Yeah, let's talk about that briefcase return, by the way. So AI, when they sip on a return like that, I don't think that was correct. Like oftentimes they'll do it after they've returned it and they'll cut it short.
Yeah.
And I think what Atia did right there was not legal, right?
I'm not the best person to answer that question, but I would be very suspicious of the way that that went down. Yeah, and we're gonna get shot for a white BB.
Yep. Yeah, I mean that clearly we could have taken a bug there at the end as well as we were jammed up against the ambassador, and that whole confluence of events just leads to the shot.
Yeah. What we should have done with that return was return it and then start a sip, and then halfway through the sip start walking away, because I think they're only gonna start a sip when like their return is like interrupted via the ambassador moving or something. So there was no reason for the AI to be like trying to return the briefcase and then stop what they're doing and then go for a sip because they were in the process of returning.
Yep, I think that's right. But meanwhile, Ibutra has picked up one of the two marbles from this match and is spying here as Teal to put it away altogether. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Now I expect hopefully a slower game from Abutra when you're kind of at that when you're at this point where you're like up 6-5 or something, you really don't want to blow it. So you tend to be a lot safer in your gameplay, which can be good, can be bad, but I would expect Abutra to play a much more paced and kind of slower spy game here to try and net the win.
And on Courtyard especially, I mean, slow games are kind of the meta. So like that alone, we're just in a time ad though. Speaking of doing things in a risky manner,
Yeah, however, time ad will allow us to play a bit slower as long as we don't get caught for it. And it looks like it was unnoticed. Second flirt up to 78%.
yeah, I think that's the first time out of the set in general. So it's not like Atia has been sort of primed to look for it.
Mhm.
And yeah, the selection target bounces away and comes right back to us, allowing us to pick up that second flirt as well. We're not going to purloin here. We're just going to let that go. And it looks like that's definitely the plan then, is to play a slower game and let the party shake out a little bit more than perhaps other games in the set have gone.
Yeah, I think a good strat here for Ibutra would be to get flirt done, get inspect done, try to maybe work on fingerprint, and have contact be last. I think at this level of play, they're both probably relying on contact to induce their shot. So, save it for last and try and get everything else done first.
Yeah, so that's the flirt done right there. Now we have to see what Ibutra decides to do. Ibutra takes a drink, so statues is not the play next. So I would guess that banana bread or trying to find a banana bread somewhere is going to be what Ibutra is thinking instead. Uh, as in do the easiest and the safest missions first, and then sort of go on to the riskier ones.
Looks like we're gonna chase. Is this the real DA? Yeah, we're gonna head in for the contact. Yeah, and we do go for the contact. It is gonna be red. Sniper's rotating, so the cough is not on screen, and they're prioritizing low lights. The other full conversation on the other side of the venue doesn't have a double agent, so we're really the only kind of realistic conversation with a real contact. However, the DA moves as we rotate around, so I'm not even sure that Atia knows that our conversation was real. So a red contact, but I think we're gonna get away pretty clean with it.
Yeah, Natia only gets one low light from that as well. So really, that all turned out pretty well, all things considered. Duke just gets shot!
That was supposed to be a shot on to Teal, and I'm pretty sure that that was an accident.
Oh, wow. Let's
I
look at that
I
replay
really think
again.
so. I mean, Duke was a highlight, but the timing of as Teal steps onto pad and is going for the inspect, and they immediately safety off, and I don't even know. Wow, I can't tell who was meant to be shot there.
Yeah, this replay, it's really like a sort of pixel thing. The safety, the laser isn't on Teal here as
Right,
she
right,
goes into
right.
the statue. So I don't know. Wow.
Oh my gosh. Do we have either player in Twitch chat? Because I am very curious to know who they meant to shoot there.
I don't think I've seen Atia in chat this game.
Cleto's pointing out that Duke left. Yeah, it's probably Duke. Duke was talking, and then as soon as his talk is done, he starts walking away. And I guess if you look at kind of the sniper movement, they're moving with Duke, right? They start moving to the right, I think. Oh no, I'm watching it in reverse. I don't know. It's probably Duke, considering they were a highlight and they left right after their talk. But uh, very scary for a butcher there also.
Also, Duke was out for banana bread.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much that, but I don't think that Atia got much information from that banana bread.
No, and the coughs will do that sometimes. You hear someone cough, and that just
Yeah.
kind of throws everything off for you.
Yeah, it's a
Either way,
huge mind game, just to note on that really quick, because you start to that's happened to me, I think, in SCL sets, and you start to like kind of doubt yourself, and you're like, I should be winning right now. I should see this cough, and you kind of get mad at yourself for not catching something that's so obvious, like a crash or a clank or a cough, and then you start thinking about that rather than tracking missions. So cough sometimes can really help the spy, is kind of counterintuitive as it is.
all right. Well, that's going to be our second set there. Oh, Ibutra jumping in.
Wanted to shoot Duke. Okay.
Yep. All right. Thanks, Ibutra. Appreciate it. Thank you, Wodar, as well, for your expert opinion. All right. So I guess that's going to end our cast here. Any parting thoughts, Screw?
No, good gameplay by both competitors. It was fun to see them start to kind of learn each other's gameplay and take advantage of it, especially on the Xenoxis set. So hopefully these players get to stay in the same division, and I look forward to seeing some more matches between them in the future SCLs.
All right. Excellent. So for those of you who are tuning in who maybe aren't already in it, I believe that you have 2 weeks left to sign up for Challenger if you so choose. If you'd like to join SCL, you can join us on Discord at discord.gg/spyparty. The game is available on Steam or at spyparty.com for $25. Um, for everybody watching here or in the future, you are valid, you're loved, and you matter, and you're always welcome in the Spy Party community. Hope everybody has a great rest of the day, and come back tomorrow for another cast.